Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 1% Happier and Healthier podcast. And of course, this is our HYROX Mini Series, which is charting our journey to HYROX Birmingham, which is scarily only a week on Wednesday. So we've just got over 10 days um, till HYROX, which is getting ever closer.
Yes.
So today, we're not going to be doing a deep dive into the exercises because we've covered all of those in our previous episodes. So if you've missed one, do look back on YouTube and catch up where we do a conversation about each of the exercises between the 1 kilometer runs. What we're talking about today, after our bit of a recap on our
Yeah.
exercise this week, is we're going to be talking about the rules. But before we get into the rules, Anne, what have you been doing this week?
Well, I've been away with the girls this week, so I had to combine pleasure with a bit of training as well. So I've been focusing on my running this week. There's lots of hills in Lincoln where we were staying. So I was up and down the hills, staying in zone two and zone three and doing lots of that. So I did two runs altogether in the last few days. So that's been good. And then I had a PT on Monday. So not too much on the stations, although we've done high rocks training this morning. So we're looking like this. But this week has been sort of a steady week, but running has been the focus. And from not enjoying running and not being great at it, I can see that my breathing is improving and it's much easier than it was. So the training at a low level is really paying off for me, which is interesting. So
Great.
yeah, that's all good. What about
That's
you?
really, really, really good to hear.
Yeah,
And I think with running, it is all about the breathing and
yeah,
getting into the right kind of cadence.
yeah,
And then, hopefully you can then go forever.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Great.
What about you,
Well
Sam?
done. It's been quite good for me in terms of what I've been able to fit in. So I managed to get to circuits at work this week. So that was 45 minutes of different kind of weight and cardio exercises. So that was good in terms of kind of
Mm.
burpees and deadlifts for the glutes. And instead of a farmer's carry, we did what he called it was a body carry. So you
Mm.
actually had to carry a sandbag and the kettlebell at the same time. So that
Wow.
was quite an interesting one. I quite
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
So that was good. I managed to do that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I managed to get to strength and conditioning class in the gym. And there was
Okay.
quite a lot of ski erg on that one
Yeah.
and various exercises which are going to support the high
Mm.
rocks. And then, of course, we've just come straight from the gym this morning where we focused on, I guess, the exercises that we're least confident in. So
Hmm.
we started with the burpees,
Yeah.
and in fact, that was fine. We
Yeah.
did our 80 meter
Yeah.
burpees, no problem.
Yeah.
Then we did the lunges, which is another one of our least favorites, but we managed to do it and had a conversation all the way through. So we reckon that was lunges in zone two.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we did the wall balls.
Yeah.
But initially, the 4 kilogram wasn't available, so we started with the six. You were
Hmm.
awesome and managed
Hmm.
20. I think I only managed about six, but we got into a much better rhythm with the 4 kilogram. And of course, I've been working on my squat depth because, of course, we've been looking at the rules. And for the wall ball, you've got to
Yeah.
really squat quite low. And I've been a bit worried about that this week, but I did practice that yesterday morning and I was videoing myself in the kitchen until I had it absolutely nailed. So I know now that I am getting low
Brilliant,
enough in
Sam.
the
Good
squat.
job. Good
I'm going
job.
to continue to work on my hip opening stretches
Mhm.
over the next couple of weeks and to get that kind of squat even lower.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
really, yeah. So I guess anybody who is thinking about kind of flexibility and squatting, there are actually exercises
Yeah.
out there. You can look on YouTube for hip openers and squat depth, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And
Yeah.
you're going to share
Yeah,
video
video,
that
yes, yeah. I
yeah,
think it's interesting because we've got our stations that we're doing and we're doing our running, etc. But it's making us think about flexibility as well, because that's really important and the stretching
yeah,
out as well, because we
yeah.
don't want injuries and we want to be as flexible as possible. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Exactly. And I guess it's another dimension of exercise, isn't it? You can think,
Yeah.
yes, I'm fit, yes, I'm strong, but
Hmm.
actually if you're not flexible,
Yeah.
um you could
Well,
get a whole load of penalties at high rock.
yeah. And you can't get off the floor when you want to. So these things,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the
Right.
rules, we're going to have to start thinking about the rules, especially as doubles, in terms of how do we change over and things like that. So we'll be, I think, probably talking more about the transitions and changeovers next
Yes.
week.
Yeah.
But we thought we would share some of the key rules for when you're in a doubles high rocks. Do you want to
Yes.
start?
Yeah. So the first one is you must run together. So both of you must do the 1K together and finish together. So you may have, in our arrangement, Sal's faster than me. And it's important that number one, you pace yourself. So you pace yourself in terms of the partner who's potentially the slowest, but also you start and you finish together. And that's really, really important. So Sal can't zoom ahead in
Yeah.
front of me. It's got to be together. So, and that sort of is worth considering for the running together and coming back, but also in terms of the pace as well.
Hmm.
The pace when you set off, and I suppose the station that you finish off with and you go into the run, you've got to run together. That's the rule. I'm slightly digressing, but also the pace that you set off in that run
Hmm.
and the next one afterwards. So the rule is you've got to run together, but there's other things to think around that as well.
Yeah. And if we don't run together, that's a 3-minute penalty.
We don't want that.
Okay. And I think linked to that, we've got to enter and exit stations together. So we must both be, so for example, when we come from the run to the ski erg, we must be both at the ski erg before we start. So as a doubles, we've really got to do kind of everything together. And I think it's really key for the run,
Yeah.
don't run ahead and then just start on the ski erg.
Yes.
It's getting to the stations together and then exiting together. So we've
Yes.
got to wait until the final person has finished.
Okay. The third rule is split work however you like. So this is an interesting one because you can do 80-20, 50-50 based on your ability. And it's really worth thinking about again before you go to do your run, is, where are your strengths in your team? We're Sally's got strengths, I've got strengths, and but we combine it with the run as well, that fatigues you. So I think it's really worth thinking about the pace level and also, being really honest during HYROX, going, you need to take over now, but also not getting to the burnout.
Yeah.
Because it is about pace. It's pace, 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 and watching where you are and your heart level is, which I'm learning. This is all new.
But I guess the really good thing is that you can split the stations however you want.
Yes,
So as Anne
yeah,
says, that, for example, Anne could do 100% of one station if that was what we wanted. That's not what we're going to do.
no,
We are going to try and share them kind of 50-50, but you can actually split them more times. So if, for example, on the ski erg, we've got to do 1,000 meters. We could do 200, 200,
yeah,
200,
yeah,
Um, so we could do it like that, or we could do two lots of 500.
yes.
It's really up to us, and that's what we're going to be thinking about over the next week, and we'll be kind of sharing what our plan is in the next episode.
Yeah. Um,
Transition.
yeah,
So handovers, whenever we hand over, we can't do anything that is going to gain distance. So for example, in the forward lunges with the sandbag, I can't hand over the sandbag forward and gain a meter or so. We have to always pass back. And I think with the same with the ski erg, you have to
yes.
let the handles go back
Up.
to the top
Yeah,
and start again. So any kind of handover can't gain any distance. Again, with the
yeah,
burpees, I can't stop and then and start 2 meters ahead. Everything has to be so that you don't gain any
yeah.
distance.
And that you don't want to pick up penalties because that is going to make such a difference to the end time. Rule number 5, no assistance from resting partners, which links into what Sal says. You have to complete your exercise, and the handover has to be really clean, and there's no forward distance. So it's maintaining, excuse me, it's making sure you're close to each other. You've got a system, and we are actually going to practice the swapping over to make sure we're getting that right because that is a big part of it. You could go in there and absolutely nail it as an athlete, but if you're not getting these things right, you're going to pick up those
Yeah.
penalties, and we don't want those. Excuse
And I
me.
think the key one with this, no assistance from the resting partner, is especially in the sled pull, your partner can't help you with the rope, for
Yeah, that's a good
example.
one.
So when you're pulling the rope, it's easy to kind of trip over and get it in the way. And it's easy for the partner to be tempted to move the rope out of the way, but that's going to incur a penalty.
Yeah,
And I guess the same with the sandbag, that if perhaps somebody's struggling holding it, if I help Dan just put it back on her shoulders, again, that
yeah.
is going to incur a penalty. So I think once you are doing the exercise, you have to do it unassisted.
Yes.
So I think that's really quite key. So Anne and I are going to probably spend a little bit more time going through the rules in a bit more detail to make sure we're kind of 100%
Yeah.
confident.
Yes.
And I presume there'll be some kind of briefing on the day.
Yeah. You would
I
think
think
so, but we're going to go ready prepped and watch some more videos on how to do it.
There's plenty
Yeah.
on Instagram and YouTube, aren't
Yes.
there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what have you got planned next week?
Well, I'm gonna try. I'm going away again today. So we've got a park run tomorrow. We've got that booked in round Sheringham, which is going to be really nice near the seaside, and it's 5K. So I'm going to add an extra three on and do my full 8K tomorrow because in HYROX you've got to do a total of 8K. So I just want to know I can do that. And I'm really confident, so that's really good because that's so different to about a month
Is
ago.
that going to be your longest run ever?
For this, but not ever. I've done longer than that. Yeah. So full high rocks preparations, just a mental thing. And then I'll be training and doing strength and conditioning at the gym, which I'm finding really useful for slotting into time slots, focusing on some of the exercise we do. It's all sort of weighted and there's a lot of ski erg in there. So it sort of ticks the ski erg checklist box.
What day are you doing strength and conditioning?
Monday,
What time?
9:30.
Oh, I might
Yeah.
sneak into the early one.
I might get to the early one with you as well. We'll see. And then yeah, up to Wednesday, and then we've got HYROX next week as well. So it's maximum workouts up until about Wednesday, then rest day Thursday, ready for Friday, and then after that, we've obviously got the week after his HYROX where we're going to taper.
Yeah, I think we want to have a little bit of a taper down, just to make sure we're kind of full of energy
Yeah,
and ready to go. And I guess the other thing we perhaps want to talk about next week is fueling.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Great stuff. Awesome. What about
Cool. What about me? I'm going to be doing some gym work tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a bit of a longer run on Sunday, and then, as I say, first thing Monday, perhaps some strength and conditioning.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
all good.
cool. Okay, great.
Not long
So,
now.
the next week will be our last episode before the High Rocks. So we'll probably be a little bit nervous and excited next week. And then there'll be one more episode after that to let you know how we've got on. But yeah, thank you very much for listening and speak to you next week.